Hello and welcome to Silverstone for the latest encounter of the Tegiwa BMW M3 Cup. Now joining him on track this weekend is the MTEC Brakes BMW 330 Challenge. But let's have a look at the M3s first. On pole position we've got Tom Collier, followed by Paul Cook. Very experienced driver, he races in the MR2 Championship, so he's very familiar with rear wheel drive racing. He's one to watch. So with that, it's a greasy track out there, so it could get interesting. Here's Andy McEwen with race one.
Thank you, Anthony. Cars lining up on the grid as followed, with championship leader Tom Collier on pole alongside Paul Cook. Then it's Ping Yuan and David Whitmore on row 2 ahead of Graham Crowhurst, Nick Williamson, Wayne Lewis and Julian McBride. The leading 330 Cup cars, Matt Maxted and Darren Ball. Matt Maxted, who has more wins than anyone else in that class, is on pole position. The lights are out though, and for the first time this weekend, the Tegiwa M3 Cup and the MTEC Brakes 330 Challenger away. And up the inside line, it is Paul Cook who will take the lead down towards the first corner. Tom Collier, the championship leader, slots in line in second. Then the Tegiwa livery car of Ping Yuan is in third as they drop down into the braking zone at Village now, and Sheng there defending the inside line. Got the white and green car in there as well of David Whitmore. He's actually slipped down the order slightly. Wayne Lewis there in the khaki coloured car that we are now on board with was alongside. On the outside line into the link though, and tried to turn in, but still up the inside was David Whitmore. So David Whitmore and Wayne Lewis will run side by side for the first time down the famous Hangar Straight. Wheel to wheel they will go, but at the front of the field it's the two black and yellow cars leading the way. Paul Cook ahead of Tom Collier. It's side by side for third place. Diving up the inside line then I think was Graham Crowhurst trying to find a way past Ping Yuan. Did he manage to make that one work? They're still side by side. Still also side by side are Wayne Lewis and David Whitmore. Whitmore going through for third position. It is still side by side and it will be Ping Yuan who holds on to the position. Crowhurst not able to get through on this occasion, but then he gets a better run through club up the inside line into the second apex at the right-hander, and he will now go through. So Graham Crowhurst gets himself onto the podium, runs way wide over the curbs on the exit of the corner though, and will run the risk of incurring the wrath of the clerk of the course if he keeps exceeding the track limits like that. So this four-way fight for third streaks through Abbey Corner for the first time of asking in the M3 Cup element of the race. There are two classes, the M3 Cup and the 330 Challenge. The 330 Challenge is not a championship yet, but hopefully will become one for next season. But for the time being, the only cars scoring points are those at the front of the field. The more powerful, the better aerodynamically, more aerodynamically efficient M3 Cup cars. Drop down towards Vale, the link, sorry, there was a car in the gravel there. I thought I saw waved yellow flags. That, I believe, might well be Matt Maxted. It's either Matt Maxted or Chris Graham, neither of whom came through at the end of lap number 1, both of them running in the 330 Challenge element of the race. And indeed there we can see it is Matt Maxted. Well, he was certainly one car involved because he has a crumpled front right corner on board with Wayne Lewis with a grandstand view of this third place battle that's still raging on. Graham Crowhurst, who was out-qualified by Ping Yuan, and Sheng has lost the position in the early stages here, but he was third on the grid. Crowhurst was fifth, so Crowhurst really making some ground because he's also found a way past David Whitmore there, the white and green car, who didn't appear to get a great start. So as they stream back through at the end of the second lap, it is the black car making all of the moves here, Crowhurst. But now, can he pull away from the cars behind, or is he going to continue to be challenged? Well, it looks like it's going to be the second of those options because he's very sideways there through Farm and into the braking zone at Village, where Ping Yuan almost gets back up the inside line. Can't do it though, so these four cars continue to circulate in very close proximity though. This is the kind of racing that the M3 Cup, the Tegiwa M3 Cup, has been providing since its inception a couple of seasons ago. Always close racing, affordable way of going racing in some very, very high performance BMWs. These are some of the highest performance BMWs you'll see racing anywhere in the UK. And a splendid sight they make as well. This close together on the circuit as Ping Yuan again goes up the inside of Graham Crowhurst into Stowe, and again is denied the opportunity to retake that third position. With Wayne Lewis at the back of this quartet of cars. He makes his way down towards the braking zone again. Ping Yuan having a look at the inside, can't go through there. What about at club? Can he do to David Whitmore, to Graham Crowhurst what Graham Crowhurst did to him a few laps ago? The answer is no, and in fact it is Whitmore who closes in onto the tail now of Ping Yuan. The leaders come back through with the gap going up now between Paul Cook and Tom Collier. Paul Cook, who's only fifth in the championship, is some 70 points off the championship lead. So Tom Collier's not going to worry too much about that. Tom arrives here in the championship lead to the tune of 30 points over Nick Williamson, who I haven't actually seen in this race. He did start, in theory, from 6th on the grid, but I haven't seen him feature at the front of the field. This is all getting very dicey here, this fight for third position. Here are the 330 Cup cars, and what I believe is the battle for the race lead with the white car of Darren Ball at the head of this little group. Then you've got the red and silver of Bill Redrop, and then the black and turquoise car next in line. That is all part of this very, very entertaining. In fact, yes, that is the black and turquoise car, I think, of actually Nick Williamson, who's running in the M3 Cup element of the race, but has dropped down the order and doesn't appear to have the pace, does he? Yes, there you can see that is the number 11 car of Nick Williamson, and there's smoke from the rear of it, so that might possibly, no mechanic, but that might possibly be the reason for his lack of pace in this race. Meanwhile, in front of the field, there's no lack of pace. There's also no lack of commitment as the four-way fight for the bottom step of the podium negotiates Abbey and Farm once again, and it's still Zhengping Yuan who feels that he should be at the head of this group, but whilst trying to attack Graham Crowhurst, he's also busy defending from Nick Williamson. He runs a bit wide there though, and Nick gets up the inside and goes through, and Wayne Lewis might be able to follow him as well, gets up the inside into the link, and that was a good bit of opportunistic driving there from Wayne Lewis, but he runs a bit wide on the exit. Now, there were yellow flags out at that part of the circuit, and I wonder whether maybe that might lead to a discussion post-race. We'll have to wait and see. Zhengping Yuan is coming back at Wade Lewis anyway, so it might be irrelevant if he can find a way back through, but still, that is a big no-no overtaking under the yellow flags. On board with Wade Lewis. Yep, there goes Zhengping Yuan back up the inside. Wade tries the over-under, tries to get the better exit from the corner, but can't do that. Now, what about the braking zone at Vale? It's one of the better overtaking opportunities on the circuit, but no, there's no way up the inside. And so Wayne Lewis stays at the back of the group, but that possibly is for the best, because it may well have got meant that he gets away with having a penalty for overtaking the yellow flags. So back out of club they go. That has just split that little pack up ever so slightly for the time being. Graham Crowhurst escaping now slightly from Nick Williamson in 4th. Then this fight for 5th between Ping Yuan and a sideways Wayne Lewis, who didn't quite get into the corner right then at Abbey. You can see there are a few raindrops on the camera lenses. That's because we have got some drizzle in the air. There's been some overnight rain as well. There have been 1 or 2 races already this morning that have dried up the track, certainly on the racing line. There's the odd damp patch offline, which could make overtaking challenging. That's particularly been the case in this race so far. Lots of good overtaking manoeuvres been made, particularly amongst these 4 cars, who are once again heading down the Hangar Straight. That ever present even threat of rain is certainly going to be on the minds of the drivers here in this race. There goes Crowhurst turning his way through. See how well sorted these cars are with race brakes and aerodynamic aids on the cars, which up the performance. The M3 Cup cars are a bit more expensive to run than the MTEC Brakes 330 Challenge cars, but as I said, comparatively speaking, both very, very affordable ways of going tip-top racing. Wayne Lewis, who is just dropping back ever so slightly now from the group of cars in front of him. Here, in the 330 Challenge, though, is the number 67 car, and that is David Drinkwater. Now, he's leading the class. David Drinkwater has scored 2 wins. He won the first 2 races of the year, in fact, at Alton Park in the 330 Challenge. Has not since been on the top step of the podium, but he's been on the podium pretty much every race. He had a non-finish here at Silverstone on the national circuit, actually, back in May. Apart from that little sort of blot on his copybook, he's really been in imperious form in 2018. And David Drinkwater has pulled a decent gap over the rest of the 330 Challenge competitors. You can see this is a much more production-based form of BMW racing. The cars don't have the big aerodynamic aids, they don't have the big race brakes. They are toned down, slightly slower, but arguably even more enjoyable car to drive, because without the aerodynamics there to keep you stuck to the road, the driver does an awful lot more work. You can see Darren Ball in the background doing a lot of work just to stay on the road, which he sort of did coming out of the link, but the leading 330 cars have spaced themselves out quite well at the moment, so there is no real potential for a change of position here. David Drinkwater just negotiating Stowe Corner in beautiful isolation as he has a clear road in front of him and a pretty clear road behind him as well. As I said, we'll be hoping to see more of these cars appearing on the grid over the rest of the season and then into 2019, hopefully they'll be able to turn this into a full championship. It's something that the 750 Motor Club has always been pretty good at doing, actually, taking championships, taking new concepts, new ideas, and they may start off with a fairly modest grid, but fast forward a year and they're usually almost oversubscribed. Back on board with Wayne Lewis as he works his way now through the link and back out onto the Hanger Straight. The M3 Cup element of the race, which is just starting to close in again slightly now. I'd say that David Whitmore's maybe getting a bit closer to Graham Crowhurst for third. They're dropping Wayne Lewis, that's for sure, but Wayne will be hoping to see that the cars in front start to fall over each other a little more. Maybe give him an opportunity to close in a touch. Back through Vale they go. 2 more rounds after this weekend for the M3 Cup and the 330 Challenge. First of all at Donington, then at Snetterton on the 300 circuit to round out the year. And it's been a fairly quiet period for the bulk of the drivers over the midpoint of the season. They had a bit of a break. They were a guest on the Brands Hatch Deutsche Fest timetable in June, a few weeks ago. So they have had an outing over the summer, but it's been a fairly relaxed season, just as we try and encourage more drivers to come along and have a go. And give the existing entrants time to fettle their cars over the summer break. We're back in action now with the final 3 rounds coming in fairly quick succession. Down the Hanger Straight in fairly quick succession as well, with Tom Collar still with a decent margin over, Paul Cook, with a decent margin over Tom Collar. Third place battle though is where it's at. On board with Paul Hudson in the 330 Challenge car, just moving out of the way. You can see the difference there from inside the car as well. The car a lot more standard parts still left in the car. Just carefully make sure that he's out of the way of the quicker cars as they come through. Good gentlemanly driving there. Let's try for third though, I think where most of the attention is going to be now over the remaining half of the race. We're into the second half of the race now. 20-minute races, these Tegiwa M3 Cup and MTEC Brakes 330 Challenge races. Plenty of track time for your money. 2 20-minute races plus a 20-minute qualifying session. So the qualifying session is setting the grid for both races as well. The second fastest lap times will set the grid for race 2 a bit later on today, where again it will be Tom Collar ahead of Paul Cook. So we'll be interested to see whether Tom can make better of that, take better advantage of that pole position in race 2. This third place battle though heads back down through the link again, and David Whitmore getting a bit more antsy now to try and find a way past Graham Crowhurst. Whitmore was quicker than Crowhurst in qualifying by 1/10 of a second, so not very much at all. It was expected these two would be fairly evenly matched. That's proving to be the case. They're side by side though down the Hanger Straight, and David Whitmore goes to the inside line and then suddenly seemed to slow down. Was that a missed gear or an issue with the car? I don't know, but David Whitmore looked as though he was going to be able to get up the inside of Graham Crowhurst. That's not the case though, and so Crowhurst hangs on, but that was certainly the best opportunity Whitmore's had so far to make this move work. Down into Vale. The 2 cars with the Tegiwa sponsorship adorning the side of the car. The series sponsors, of course, for the M3 Cup, as they have been again since its inception. Long-time partners of the 750 Motor Club. So back through they go. Shemping Yuan still in the background. Remember, he qualified third, so a bit surprised that he's not running a bit further up the order. Of course, it was a much damper qualifying session. That has led to a bit of jumbling of the order. Qualifying taking place this morning before the 2 races. Another great way of keeping the costs down is to have everything happen on one day, because then you don't have to have an overnight stop with hotels or on-site camping and whatnot. You just turn up on race morning, you qualify, you do 2 races, and then you go home. Or with Wayne Lewis, who's not thinking of going home just yet. He's thinking of ways in which he can catch Shengping Yuan in front of him, but he's been getting ever more sideways as the race has gone on, has Wayne Lewis. Your race leader though, Paul Cook of MR2 Racing fame within the 750 Motor Club, always spectacular to watch in that championship, and he's proving to be pretty rapid in the M3 Cup as well. Paul has not raced at every round this year, which is why he's some way back in the championship, but he has taken 2 race wins. He did the double at Croft back at the end of May. So Cook, a proven race winner in the M3 Cup. Looking to try and add to that tally here this weekend. Tom Collar, despite the fact that he is leading the championship, has not actually won a race this year. He's had lots of second and third place finishes, and it's really been that consistency and the fact that he's competed in every round that's helped. And of course, you drop some scores at the end of the year, and once drop scores are taken into account, that closes the title race up a little bit more. So Tom Collar may have a decent advantage at the moment, those 30 points over the likes of Nick Williams, David Whitmore, Nigel Ralphson, who is not here this weekend. But once you take those drop scores into account, it all gets a bit closer, which is what we like to see. A championship that's definitely likely to go right the way down to the wire. Down the hang straight they come again, getting into the final third of the race now. Graham Crowhurst still hanging on to this third place from David Whitmore. Through the right-hander. Screeching of tyres as the front tyres protest there as they try and deal with the understeer through the corner. It's a tricky corner, that Stowe, because you come in obviously at very high speed. You don't scrub off that much speed before you turn into the turn. It goes on forever. It's over a crest as well, so the car wants to understeer off the track, and then all of a sudden the curb comes up to meet you on the exit. You get a bit of oversteer, and then you've got to start thinking about your braking point down in towards Vale. It's a very busy lap around the international circuit. That's why a lot of drivers prefer this layout over the shorter national circuit, which has been more traditionally used. Tom Collar there puts a lap on Nick Williamson. Not sure what Nick's problem is in this race, but the man who came into this weekend second in the points is clearly struggling for pace. We saw that smoke out of the car earlier on. I believe he may have made a pit stop, and he's really just trying to stay out of everyone's way and figure out what the problem is and hopefully get it fixed for race 2, because he can little afford to have these mechanical gremlins, really, can Nick, because Nick, who himself is a race winner, he won the second race here at Silverstone on the national circuit earlier on in the year. It's just not quite gone together so far this morning on the international layout for him. Right, here comes this fight for third, and well, David Whitmore again has a peek to the inside at Stowe, but nothing seems to come of it. And the car does seem to understeer a bit wider than Graham Crowhurst's does. So third place battle will continue on here. Crowhurst. See, Crowhurst's car looks a bit livelier from the rear end. We've seen it sliding around under power, and again it snaps sideways there, and I thought that might have been the chance maybe for Whitmore to slip up the inside, but Whitmore doesn't seem to quite have the front end of the car sorted as well as he'd like, so that's making overtaking difficult, of course. Down in towards Abbey, he's forcing Crowhurst to defend on the way in though, so as long as he can get the car turned in, Whitmore should carry more exit speed. You can see they didn't really manage to do that, so clearly suffering from a bit of understeer. He gets himself alongside, but it's the outside line into Village. Again, the switchback is his best option here if he wants to try and make this move stick at this corner, which he tries to do. Now, can he get up the inside? No, Graham Crowhurst moves over to cover, so clever racing this from Crowhurst. He's just about able to stay in front. He's using his strengths to his advantage. He's playing against the weaknesses of David Whitmore. I think if he ever gave Whitmore a clear run up the inside into particularly one of the tighter corners, I think he'd be able to get through, but it's just not happening yet for the green and white car that was propelled to a race victory earlier on this season at Silverstone. Doesn't look likely to take a win this time around, because the leading two are well up the road. Still Paul Cook leading from Tom Collar. Third place though, that's anyone's guess between these two. They've dropped Shengping Yuan, and of course Wayne Lewis was falling back anyway. So these two are on their own in their fight for third, despite the fact that they are fighting quite hard for it. They're not really holding each other up sufficiently that they're losing time to the cars behind. If anything, they're actually catching slightly Tom Collar in front. So if they were to leave each other alone, or indeed if Whitmore could get through, he may well be able to, if he's the quicker of the two, pull them up to the second place car of Collar. They're running out of time now. There are only a couple of minutes left on the clock, so realistically it's all about third place for these two drivers, but they've got decent pace in this second half of the race, that's for sure. Through the link again into the right-hander, very tricky downhill. You can see again it's hard to pick out that apex, and you let the car run way wide. The track limits rule down there is only enforced by the white line at the extreme edge of the track, so you can run right out over the sort of the exit of the Grand Prix circuit there, right up to the curb. As long as you don't go over the curb, and you really have to be trying to go over that curb, then you should be able to get away without exceeding the track limits. Side by side again, down into Vale, and this time. Well, this is a bit more interesting. This is David Whitmore trying the outside line now. He's tried the inside at most parts of the circuit. He's now trying the outside line on the way into Vale, hoping that that will force a bit of a stumble out of Graham Crowhurst and maybe force a mistake and maybe make him run wide through club. It didn't work though, and so as the leaders go through onto what should be the final lap of the race, it is Paul Cook who leads the way. Tom Collar in second position, third place for Graham Crowhurst, and fourth for David Whitmore. Is that the order in which they're going to finish though? This lead gap is coming down slightly actually. On the previous lap we saw Tom Collar set a lap that was faster than Paul Cook. Paul Cook has the fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 15.5, and I presume is just sort of managing this to the end, but you can see there that Tom Collar is getting a bit larger in his wing mirrors. And that fight for third that's definitely going down to the last corner. We are only half a lap away though from the checkered flag, and it doesn't look yet as though David Whitmore's been able to prise the door open. Can he find something special in the last couple of corners to get this third place away? Through Stowe they go. Back down towards Vale. Again, the car just doesn't seem to want to hold on to the apex, does it? At the front of the field, though, no such issues for Paul Cook, who I think is just coasting this one home. And he is about to come through and score his third win of the season in the Tegiwa M3 Cup. He comes out of the final corner, he sees the checkered flag and wins race one here on the Silverstone International Circuit. Windscreen wipers on there for Tom Collar in second place. Third place was Graham Crowhurst. He fended off Dave Whitmore with Shengping Yuan, Wayne Lewis and Julian McBride rounding out the M3s. David Drinkwater took a comfortable victory in the 330s ahead of Darren Ball and Bill Redrop, then Nick Williamson, Paul Hudson, Dinas Dabraskas with Chris Graham and Matt Maxted, the two non-finishers.
Good race. I had a real good start, which is probably the first time I've had a real good start. Pipped Tom to the first corner and sort of put my head down and tried to sort of get as much as a gap as I could early on, if it's possible, just in case it rained, because Tom's a dab hand in the way.
Tom, firstly you've got to be happy with second place, but you didn't rain dance all through that, were you?
Yeah, a bit I was. Got a bit of a poor start, so yeah, Paul got ahead. Felt like I was going to be able to keep with him, but unfortunately he's had a little bit more pace, got the gap, and then towards the end I started to gain on him, and yeah, that little bit of drizzle on the last lap, I was thinking, here we go. But yeah, never mind, one of those. Second place is a good result.